Thanks for joining us. We're Wisconsin Weather Experts here on this Monday. We're getting later and later in April. I had a beautiful Easter weekend. Did you?
I did have a good Easter weekend. Lots of nice weather, I think, for a majority of Wisconsin locally. We had some sunshine, dry conditions earlier, and then we brought in the rain. And really, it's going to be more of that rainy, cloudy week ahead, I think, for some of us.
Yeah, it did get pretty wet, but we're just talking about we kind of needed the rain, it's okay that we have a bit of a surplus going on for this spring. The drought monitor is looking a lot better, which is good news. Coming up, we're going to take a look at our big picture and look ahead. A couple of things going on this week. Yeah. Potentially some stormy weather.
You know what was cool here, though, Rob, was, well, our weather, for the most part, was quite calm. Other areas woke up to a different scene of things.
Yeah, the Easter weekend calmed down pretty good after we got through Thursday there. But let's go to Boulder, where they did have a bit more to deal with. Look at this. It's so pretty. I mean, that looks like a Hallmark movie right there. A spring-winter storm impacting areas of the Rockies over this past weekend. So this is Boulder, Colorado. That's where that footage was shot. Look at that. This is substantial. I mean, obviously, you're talking elevation there. Boulder is, not. I think they're pretty close to a mile high, if not right up there with Denver at a mile high. But it reported 5 inches of snow. The foothills had about 8 inches, and in the mountains, some of the resorts had a foot of snow. And again, there's nobody complaining about it.
No, I think they really like to enjoy the recreational aspect of it. And to be quite frank, if I was out there for the Easter weekend, I just might have made some egg-looking snowballs and painted them with the kids.
A lot of skiers, obviously, out there in Boulder. And I was in Denver for the American Meteorological Society conference a couple of years ago. One of the things I took away from that city is that they say in Denver, when someone asks you, what do you do, they're not asking about your job. They mean, what do you do outside? Do you ski? Do you mountain bike? Do you hike? What's your thing?
I'm going to have to ask my cousin that, because they live in Colorado and very outdoorsy, of course, but I've never heard that.
So I'm guessing that they were doing a lot of things outside in that snow and weren't too unhappy about it at all.
You know what I also learned about Colorado? There's certain areas where you cannot have snowball fights. It's illegal.
Oh, yeah? That's true.
So I started looking up a slew of cities at one point.
I'm sure there's quite a few that had that after that one kid. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, right? That's the old saying, and it is true. All right, we're not going to focus on snowballs, but we are going to focus on a couple of moments this week that could get a little intense.
Yeah, and actually some areas in Wisconsin even saw some snow this morning, but there is going to be a big change in the weather, and in particular, we're keeping a close eye on areas near Green Bay, Wisconsin, because the NFL draft is going to occur later on this week. We'll give you that forecast too. Right now, what we're taking a look at, though, is Green Bay, and we do have a couple flags in our shots here that are flying high because we have very strong winds in association with the low pressure system right now. Across the state, wind gusts are in the almost 30 to 40 mile per hour range. Some of those stronger wind gusts are currently on the eastern half of the state from Green Bay heading towards Milwaukee, where we see these arrows moving around a circle near Marquette and the UP. That's where we're expected to have a low pressure close to. And really, it's because of this strong system that we have been wrapping cold air around it and cold enough to change precipitation into a mix of snow and rain in northern parts of the state as well as the UP. Here are some amounts that we had reporting in from snow: 1.5 inches in Shell Lake, 2 inches in Maple, Wisconsin, and 5 inches in Wentworth. So certainly this just goes to show that even as we head into the month of April, we still can see snow in the state of Wisconsin. The big change here, though, locally, it's the colder air that's been wrapping around this low pressure system. That has kept temperatures in the 30s, 40s, and further south, we are still a little bit below average, but hanging on to the 40s and at times some 50s as well. Temperatures, though, are significantly colder than what we had yesterday. In fact, most areas have dropped temperatures by about 5 to 15 degrees, but we are going to stay cooler for now. Still expected to have some high temperatures today in the 50s, and of course that cooler air forecasted to stay in areas near Rhinelander, Wausau, and as well as Green Bay. As we take a look nationally, though, at the temperatures, take a look where the warmth is. This is going to be in portions of the southeast heading into Florida. This is ahead of 2 low pressure systems and a cold front. That's where the heat's going to be contained, while areas near the low pressures and on the backside, especially in the Rockies and in the Great Lakes region, that's where we have that colder air, 30s, 40s, and even some 50s. 50s right now. While this low pressure system is going to continue to bring rain and spark some storms heading towards the East Coast, we're already tracking our next system developing in the Rockies. And that's going to impact us not only here locally in Wisconsin for the upcoming days, but also going to cause a little bit of a headache in areas in the Oklahoma area to Wichita and heading into the panhandle of Texas. Severe weather is possible in these spots, including the threat for damaging winds, large hail, and even a few tornadoes heading into Tuesday. But take a look here. In portions of the Midwest, including southern Wisconsin, we are also included under a marginal risk as we head into Tuesday and early Wednesday for the threat of some large hail. We had very large hail last week, and we have the chance of seeing some large hail again, which is why that risk is out there. So let's pull things apart. As we look at Sky Vision Plus, we are going to hang on to a lot of cloud cover across the state of Wisconsin. As that low moves out further into today and tomorrow, that's going to pull the precip with it. We'll calm down our winds statewide and also deal with a dry period and clear skies tonight, which may help our meteor shower we're going to talk about in a little bit coming up. Early Tuesday morning statewide, we'll be tracking some showers moving in, even some rumbles of thunder. Again, the potential for some of the heavier showers as well as stronger storms maintain in southern portions of the state, but still can't rule out some of the lightning and pockets of moderate to light rain in central and northern portions of Wisconsin. This is going to persist again on and off throughout your Tuesday and start to increase in terms of intensity and some stronger storms south in portions of Wisconsin and the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, as we can see some of those stronger development happening Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Of course, we're keeping a very close eye on the rain and storm potential because the NFL draft is going to be happening this week in Green Bay. Thursday, Friday, well, temperatures cooperate, but we're going to have to watch the sky very closely. Some more disturbances look to move in that will bring us chances of showers and thunderstorms. Of course, showers we can get away with, but it's more the thunderstorms that could cause a threat for people outside. I will say right now, though, Saturday, while it will be a little cooler, we're looking to hang on to mostly sunny skies. So really the best conditions right now will be for the last of it on the weekend. We'll still have to watch things carefully, at least be weather ready as we head into Thursday and Friday of this week. So again, for Wisconsin, it is going to be more of a wet and unsettling pattern as we head through the upcoming days. But Rob, things have been unsettling in other areas of the country as well.
Yeah, very unsettling, of course. We've had some very active weather, and I want to take you back in time to 2011 for some very unsettling weather in the Midwest. Yeah, on April 22nd, St. Louis was hit pretty hard, as was the Missouri area, 21st and 22nd. This week, essentially, in 2011, severe weather event right across the Midwest, southern Great Plains, huge area, very dynamic area of low pressure, sparking those systems back in 2011. Which now is getting to be almost 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago. Significant damage reported near Bowling Green, Missouri, as well as Girard, Illinois, as a result of an EF3 tornado. And there were several strong tornadoes in the area as well. We have some amazing video actually from the storm tracker team in Missouri on that date, and I believe we have the audio as well. I don't know if we can go back to that chaser video and put the audio up on it, but it is amazing to hear them talking about the funnel as they chase it down.
We're doing it. Get ready to get to the left side over my bubble, Chris, but keep on it. Do the upward motion. That's a really strong tornado.
Look at those vortices coming around. Look at that, spinning in there.
Wow.
All right, so some impressive tracker video there as well, and you can hear the intensity of these professional trackers as they take a look at that and track that storm. Now we go to St. Louis, and this was an EF4 that hit the St. Louis metropolitan area on the 22nd. Houses, buildings destroyed, caused extensive damage to numerous facilities at the international airport there. So that's the video you're looking at the airport, Lisa. Injuries were reported with this. Some of the airplanes were damaged by the high winds. They had had some terminal windows blown out. American Airlines claimed they had 4 of their jets damaged. 2 of them were significantly damaged. So a huge hit there right at the international airport. And that works directly against the long-standing tornado myth that tornadoes don't hit big cities. St. Louis, obviously a big city, same size as Milwaukee, maybe a little bit bigger in some cases, and it tore right through their international airport. And look at that damage.
Yeah, it's definitely excessive, especially when it comes to the airplanes. And that myth is huge that you talked about. A lot of people think, well, it jumps over the rivers, it doesn't hit big areas, but that's just proof that it can. And it's sad to see that because those exact same locations have been dealing with extensive amount of severe weather this year, especially in the St. Louis area.
That's right. Yeah, the city itself does not really provide any protection. It's just more of a case of it's a small area on, geographically speaking, on a map.
Correct.
And for that tornado to hit that exact spot, you know, obviously any point on a map would have a lower number. The cities just kind of catch our eyes, but that's proof that it can go wherever it wants, particularly when it's an EF4.
Yeah.
So yeah, look back in time today, this week, at least in 2011. We'll look ahead to a couple more things coming our way, and we're going to look up to talk more about those hailstones too. Stick around. You're watching Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on Fox Local.
Well, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We've been talking about a slew of things in terms of really the unsettling weather we're going to have for this week. Showers, thunderstorms, tornadoes that we've had in the past, in portions in the Mississippi Valley. And
some of the biggest hail we have seen in a very long time recently as well.
Yeah, and if you remember, we had tennis ball, even some reports of baseball-size hail, and we weren't the only ones that dealt with that. We have some amazing footage of Nebraska, where severe storms pushed through parts of it on Thursday, triggering multiple reports of tornadoes, large hail, and a lot of damage. This is video of the hailstones breaking through the windows of
look at those cars.
Fremont Hotel. Oh man, I know. And I always think about the dents. You can replace the windshields, but the dents a little harder to get out. People staying at the hotel recorded the damage and showing the shattered windows of the hotels as well as the cars. And look at all those darker colors indicating just the damage that the hail provided on the
where
siding.
the windows are out and the siding, you're right. And you saw the windshield and you saw the hood of that one car, which just completely dent. It looked like a golf ball. It had so many dents in it. And we were talking about that being, hail as being one of the biggest insurance claims weather-wise as well. So yeah, we recently saw something very similar. In fact, not very common to see tennis ball or baseball-sized hail here in Wisconsin. But we want to learn more about it, right? We always do. So let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Tom Wachs.
Well, check this out. It is very rare to get hail of this size in southern Wisconsin. This was from April the 18th of 2025 in Evansville. That is northwest of Janesville in Rock County, and this is hail to the size of tennis balls. Again, very rare to see that here in southern Wisconsin. How does hail form, and how does hail this big form? Well, let's talk about it here. First of all, let's take a look at the hail sizes here as we start out very much on the small end, 1/2 inch in diameter, 1/4 inch in diameter is that pea to marble size. When we start to get more concerned, when the warnings start to be issued, is for hail to the size of quarters. That would be 1 inch in diameter or larger. Typically, our hailstones in southern Wisconsin would be golf ball and smaller. Now, sometimes we can get hail larger than that, but I mean, to get it to tennis ball size, 2.5 inches in diameter, there's got to be a lot going on in the storm, which we'll talk about here. But look at this. It can be as large as grapefruits. That would be over 4 inches in diameter. And I can tell you, back when I worked in Nebraska many, many years ago, there were reports of hail up to grapefruit size. Could you imagine that? Grapefruit size ice falling from the sky. That's the type of hail that would come crashing through your roof. I mean, that's monster, monster hail. But really, anything over golf ball size, pretty rare here in southern Wisconsin. So how does hail form, and how does some of this large hail form? Well, let's talk about this. And you can see here on the scale just how rare it is the larger those hailstones get. All right, you ready? We're going to fly into the thunderstorm here. Now, thunderstorms are made up of updrafts, which is a warm layer of air coming up into the storm. That's what's feeding into the storm, the warm, moist air. And then you have downdrafts coming out of the storm. That would be the cooler air coming out. So we're going to focus on the updraft portion of this here. That's the air rising up into the thunderstorm. And you have water droplets, of course, which are what a storm cloud or a cumulonimbus cloud is made out of, right? And so you get water naturally in a thunderstorm, and as that updraft is pushing that water up, well, what happens? When you go up, it gets colder, right? So as that updraft is pushing that water up, it's going to freeze and turn to ice. And then that ice or that hailstone is going to kind of bob up and down here in that updraft, and then more water is going to form on it, and it's going to get pushed back up again into the updraft of the storm, and that is going to cause the hailstone to get bigger. Now, it's interesting here because it's layered, almost like the rings of a tree. In fact, if you ever were to see a large hailstone like the ones that we showed you in the Evansville area, if you were to cut into that, you would see what looks like this, which would be like the rings of a tree, right? And the number of layers that you see here correspond to the number of times that hailstone went up and down in that updraft. But wait, how does it fall out of the cloud, first of all, and then how is hail sized determined? Well, that has to do with the wind speed in the updraft of the thunderstorm. So in other words, the stronger the winds in the storm, it's going to be able to support larger hailstones, because once the hailstone gets too heavy, the wind can no longer support it and it falls out of the cloud. So another way to think about this is that the larger hailstones are typically with the stronger thunderstorms with the stronger updraft. So the stronger the winds inside the storm, the larger those hailstones will be before getting too heavy and then falling right out of the cloud. And here's another photo for you. This is from Lisa in McGuanago from that same date, April the 18th of 2025, showing quarters, if not a bit larger than that, in terms of hailstones. Again, if you cut into one of these, it'll look like the rings of a tree, and you can see how many times that hailstone cycled through the storm before dropping out of the cloud.
Well, definitely fascinating stuff. Well, while we've been talking about things falling from the sky or in the sky in terms of hail, we're going to take a different perspective of what may be in the sky tonight.
That's right.
And I
should have some good viewing.
I know. I think our clouds are going to move out just in time. We have something called the Lyrid meteor shower, and that peaks tonight. So the best time to go out and watch is 9 p.m. to 2 p.m. prior to the waning crescent moon that rises near 3 a.m. So you want to at least find a dark spot, look north. We're going to have, again, 10 to 15 meteors per hour that can be viewed in the sky. So it's not one of our meteor showers where it produces the most amount of shooting stars, but it still is really cool to see considering we don't get this that often. So let's take a look at what really is this. Well, of course, we have the moon moving around the Earth, but the meteor shower is created by what's called Comet Thatcher. That, as it moved through space, left debris behind, and it's still moving further away from Earth as we speak, but we are able to see every year the orbit of, again, Earth moving through that debris that creates those meteors. Unfortunately, in our lifetime, you'll never be able to see the actual comet as it's still traveling, again, outward away from Earth and from the sun. It's not going to reach its furthest point until 2070. Then it will begin its return trip and won't be back near Earth where we could visibly see it to the eye until the year of 2278. So one thing that's really cool is every 60 years, the comet does produce a large number of meteors in the sky. The next outburst will occur in 2042. Comet Thatcher was discovered on April 5th of 1861 by Alfred E. Thatcher, hence the name Comet Thatcher, using a refracting telescope. The Lyrid meteor shower is potentially one of the oldest known meteor showers that dates back some 2,700 years. So again, it's not that we're seeing the comet every year, it's the debris left behind in space, which I think is kind of neat when you think about it.
Right.
And our viewing conditions look to be good as we'll see those clouds move out tonight.
And it's always fascinating too, because I think folks think that the meteors are coming to us.
Correct.
We're actually going to them.
Yes.
It's a weird, messes with your brain a little bit, but we're passing through the meteors, and that's why when they interact with our atmosphere as we pass through, we get these streaks in the sky. But it's not them flying across our sky, it's our sky flying across them.
Do you make a wish when you see one?
Absolutely.
All right.
I may be a scientist, but that doesn't mean I won't make a wish. You never know. You never know.
It could come true. Well, of course, really cool there. We're going to have a lot more coming up after the break.
Make a wish. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on Fox Local and our Fox 6 YouTube channel. If you ever have any questions for us, please don't hold back. We love getting the questions and doing our best to answer them. It's very easy to do that. If you've got one at the top of your brain right now, just point your phone at that QR code. It will take you to a website where you can just fill out the information, ask whatever question. Maybe you want to know more about the Lyrid meteor showers. Maybe you want to know more about hailstones. Whatever the case may be, ask your question. We'll do our best to answer that. I can actually answer why you thought it might have been raining eggs the other day in Grafton.
Can you?
Let's take a look at this. Oh, everybody's so happy. All right, it wasn't technically raining eggs, but the hunt for Easter eggs in Grafton went to whole new heights. 20,000, yeah, they dropped 20,000 eggs out of an airplane at Grafton High School. The event organizers say that pulling this off is truly incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing feat. If somebody would have told us years ago that we would have 3,000 people here, I wouldn't have believed it, but such a great community. Everybody is so kind and thoughtful.
All right, it wasn't just about the eggs for Easter. There are also vendors. They had some food there. The Easter Bunny dropped by. That's the third year that New Life Church hosted this event. They couldn't drop the eggs from the plane last year. Here's the weather connection. Due to fog. So yes, we did have perfect conditions for those eggs to get dropped over the course of the weekend.
I think they taped them shut or something so they wouldn't break
I would
open
imagine
when
they had to like make them like, you know, weatherproof and landing proof and everything else. Apparently you have to make your golf balls bird proof now too. Not birdie, actual bird.
Yeah, this actually happened at a person that was in Rhode Island. A man hit his ball on the green, but notice what's there.
It's a bald eagle.
A bald eagle.
It's just like hanging out.
I think that'd be super cool to see, but it wasn't cool when he went after the man's ball. And according,
it was a good shot too.
He could have got it in. And according to the PGA Tour, when something like an animal interferes, the ball actually has to go back to the area where it was before. So it looks like he probably had to redo his shot because while he's just guarding there, there he goes and takes off the ball.
With the ball. The birdie got taken by a birdie.
I love it.
That's crazy stuff. Well, that's crazy stuff. I enjoy watching it, but this is definitely even a little bit crazier because we had some celebrities just down the road at our sister station in Chicago, Fox 35. No, I got the name wrong, but Fox station in Chicago, Fox Chicago, had rappers that came in. They weren't future forecasters. They were actually famous rappers, Rick Ross and Nino Breeze. They took over the forecast last weekend.
Over here. I'm gonna start.
Oh my goodness!
They got right into it.
I love this. We need this here a little bit.
All right, we got to wrap, but if you want to check it out, that's on Fox Local as well. They had a good time down there at our Fox Chicago.